neighbors, and welcome to my channel, Notes from Nancy. If you are new here, I'd like to welcome you to our neighborhood. And if you are a current subscriber and you've been sticking with me, I would like to thank you all. You all, we are about 30 subscribers away from 700. So when I reach 1,000, I'll be doing my first giveaway. And tonight we will actually be taking a break from the series that we are in the middle of, Thanksgiving must-haves. Why would I do a thing like that right before Thanksgiving? Well, it is because one of my subscribers, her name is Vivian Simmons. Hey Vivian! And she's from Montgomery, Alabama. For those of you who don't know, I am an Alabama native and I currently reside in Tuscaloosa. Roll Tide Roll. We're not gonna talk about Saturday, but anyway. Now, I currently reside in Tuscaloosa, and on one of my videos, Vivian commented that my macaroni and cheese made her think of chicken tetrazzini. So tonight, we are going to be cooking that meal. Now, this is an awesome meal for when you get tired in about 2.5 weeks and you're full from those Thanksgiving meals and you're tired of eating those Thanksgiving leftovers. This would be a great deviation. Also, just in case you don't know, just like Vivian did, she left a comment on one of my videos. If you would like to see me cook anything, just leave a comment, or you can email me at notesfromnancy@gmail.com. Excuse me, notesfromnancy1@gmail.com. And I will be glad to attempt to cook that recipe for you. Again, thank y'all so much. When I first started this channel, you know, trying to get to 100 subscribers felt almost impossible, and now I'm almost at 700 and on my way to 1,000, and that is all possible because of people watching my videos like you. So that's one of the things that I'm thankful for this year, having people like you who come into my home and watch me cook things. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into this dish. I'm going to start by adding some olive oil to a pan so that it can start to preheat as I get ready to prep my chicken. For this chicken tetrazzini, I'm using chicken breast tenderloins, and I'm just going to season those up with a little bit of my favorite seasoning, that Slap Your Mama. So I'm just seasoning them up and then mixing them around a little bit to try and get the seasoning on all of the pieces. Now we're going to chop up a few vegetables. For the chicken tetrazzini, I used a red bell pepper, and then I just diced up some onions really fine. You can use green bell pepper or yellow bell pepper. I just used red to help give the dish a little bit of color. No specific reason. Now I'm going to go to my pan and I'm going to add those chicken breast tenderloins to the pan so they can begin to cook and brown. I let those cook on the first side for about 4 to 5 minutes, and then I flip them over and I cooked them on the opposite side for about 4 to 5 minutes. So this process took about 10 minutes total, and then they were cooked all the way through. You want to make sure that the chicken is cooked all the way through. Even though you're going to bake it, I would not advise putting underdone chicken or raw chicken into this dish. Now I'm going to take that same olive oil and the residual flavorings off of the chicken, and I'm going to saute down the onions and bell pepper that I diced up. And again, as I tell you all the time, it's about layering flavors. So that's why I season the chicken, and then I'm cooking these vegetables in that oil and that's already flavored from the chicken. I cooked these for about 6 to 7 minutes until everything got fairly soft. And then I forgot to record it, but I did add some garlic. So you see the little pieces of garlic that are in the pan. I just forgot, just didn't capture that on film, but it was put in there. For chicken tetrazzini, a lot of people like to use fresh mushrooms. I'm not a big super fan of fresh mushrooms, so for me, I just took a can of sliced mushrooms, not the one with the pieces in the stems, but just kind of the mushroom heads, and added those in. And again, here I am seasoning just these vegetables to give them a little bit of taste. So I used black pepper, I used garlic powder, onion powder, and then I added in some Italian seasoning. I just like the way Italian seasoning helps to add a depth of flavor to this meal. And I'm going to mix them around just a little bit more, just to get them really, really soft. I don't want the vegetables crunching when the final meal is prepared. Now it's time to start creating our sauce. So I added in a can of the mild Rotel tomatoes. If you don't like Rotel, you can use regular tomatoes, but the Rotel tomatoes with the green chilies just add a little bit of oomph to this overall dish. And I just let these simmer in for about a minute. It wasn't long at all, just to start marrying the flavors. And then I added in cream of chicken soup. And I'm actually, you see me adding 1 can here. I'm actually going to add 2 cans of the cream of chicken soup. If you look down in the description bar, you'll see that I did use 2 cans for, there's the second can. I did use 2 cans for this dish. We're just gonna give that a nice little mix here. And this is going to be, this is our sauce that's going to go over our noodles once we start to assemble the chicken tetrazzini. And some people call this, you know, chicken spaghetti. And it basically is, because you're using chicken in the place of the ground beef, and instead of using like a tomato sauce, you would use the cream of chicken base, and then I'm gonna add some milk shortly. And you saw me give it a little taste. Don't be afraid to taste your food with a clean spoon, of course, but don't be afraid to give your food a little bit of taste. Here I'm cooking the spaghetti, and before you all start, I know some people are gonna say, Nancy, it's bad luck to break your noodles. Look, I don't like extra long noodles. I break them for spaghetti. I break them for any dish that I'm cooking with spaghetti noodles, just because I don't like them super long. I don't like having to spin them around a fork really and things like that. So I break them to make them more manageable. And I don't buy the ones that are already broken because they are just extra expensive for no reason. So I break them myself. Don't judge. Don't judge. So start coming to a boil. I start to finish my sauce. And here I add another can of cream of chicken. So there are a total of 3 cans in this dish. And it's making a really large pan. Like we ate on this for a couple days. Here I am adding a little bit of milk to thin this out. Now, my recommendation here, I used probably almost a cup of milk, and it made a nice creamy sauce, but I would probably decrease that by about a half a cup, because once you go to put this in the oven, and the cheeses and all of that start to get together, it gets super creamy. So you can get away with about a half a cup of milk. I've diced up my chicken. I'm going to add that into the pot and into the pan. And my noodles are still boiling at this point. I'm going to get ready to drain those shortly. But I'm just adding the chicken here to start giving that chicken a chance to soak up all of those flavors that I put in the sauce. And so remember here that the chicken was flavored, the vegetables were flavored, were seasoned, and also I added seasoning as I went along. So it's hard for me to kind of tell you exactly how much seasonings to use, because I just tweak them until I get a taste that I really like. Here I'm adding a little bit of Slap Your Mama. So I tasted it again and I felt that it needed a little bit more oomph. So now I've drained those noodles and I'm going to start to assemble the chicken tetrazzini in the pan. So you just pour the sauce over, and I'm going to mix it up right here in the pan. If you wanted to, you could have poured the sauce into the noodles, into the boiler that the noodles were in, but I just found it easier to mix it up right here. Here I'm adding a little bit of shredded mild cheddar cheese. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of mozzarella cheese, and then it'll be topped with cheese, and this just helps give it that ooey gooey texture, so that when you cut into it, you get that bit of pull that we look for with, you know, creamy dishes like this one. Here I'm adding just a little bit more Italian seasoning. And we're going to give it one more quick little mix. And this is that addition of the mozzarella that I was telling you about. And then I'm going to top that with just a little bit more of that mild cheddar cheese. much at the point where we can pop this bad boy in the oven. Now, because this pan is extra full, I am going to actually sit this dish on a baking sheet just in case it bubbles over. And after being in the oven for about 45 minutes at 350, this was the final product. And y'all, this was so delicious. It was so creamy. It was so cheesy. I did forget to take a picture of it, like the final thing after I cut it. I was learning how to use my new camera, and it's been an adventure. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe. Those subscriptions help me out so much. And as always, thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye, neighbors.